I took the bus out there.
Yes.
Here as
And Tony was
driver.
late. Tony was late, so I ended up sitting on the side of the road for 15 minutes.
Thank you for letting them know that.
Yeah. Okay, we are live. Your mics are hot. We are live. All of a sudden it gets quiet.
We still have 1
We
minute.
still have 1 minute.
We live in fear.
There's no reason.
Well, I'll start off by welcoming everyone to the June 12th MST Board Performance Operation Committee participation. To the Board Operations Performance Committee. Sorry, still got to get used to this.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
And we are meeting in person and via Zoom conference. And the Board Operation Performance Committee in person will be held June 12th at 9 a.m. here at 12 Upper Ragsdale Drive. It is now officially 9 o'clock, so public participation for the regular board meeting is available in person here, as well as virtually Zoom. And if you would like to participate via Zoom, you could go to the meeting ID number is 845-0083-6234, and the passcode is 652253. And with that, we'll go ahead and I will call this meeting to order. It's 9 a.m. and ask Jeanette to call roll call, please.
Marianne Carbone,
Here.
Joe Emilio,
Here.
Mike DeBar, absent, Jeff Barron,
Here.
Lisbeth Fisher,
Here.
and Tony Barrera.
Here.
Okay, you have a quorum.
Okay. And with that, we'll move on to public comments on matters not on the agenda. And at this time, members of the public may address the committee on any matters not related to MST, but not on the agenda at this time. So at this time, public comment is open.
We don't see anybody online and we don't see anybody in the room.
Okay, with that, we'll close public comment and we'll go to the consent agenda. 3.1 is to approve minutes of the Board Operations Performance Committee. April 10th, 2020, this should read 2023. There's a typo, Jeanette, there.
Okay.
And you can find that on page 5 in your packet. So with that, let's open it up to the public first. And Carl, do you see anyone via Zoom?
No, we do not.
Okay, public comment is still open. We'll go ahead and close public comment, and I will ask at this time, committee members, if you have any comments on the agenda. And if not, if I'm looking for a motion for approval. Okay, we have a motion and a second. And roll call vote, please.
Okay, Director Carbone,
Yes.
Director Emilio,
Yes.
Director Barron,
Yes.
Director Fisher,
I'll abstain because I did not attend the meeting.
okay, and Director Barrera.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passed.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on to action items. We'll go to the first one, 4.1, and that is on page 55 in your packet. Let's see, or page 55 or 7.1 in your regular agenda packet. Carl?
Yes, thank you. We continue with the implementation of the Better Bus Network, which you will get a more detailed presentation on shortly to have much higher ridership, over 20% over the previous year. We've been averaging since the implementation of the Better Bus Network, on average about 20% growth in ridership over the preceding year. That's compared to about 11% that was occurring in the previous 6 months prior to the implementation of the Better Bus Network. So we do know that is working. In some of the work that we've been doing with the board ad hoc reporting committee, we've been digging a little more deeply into the details. And we can see that we're actually getting a much higher percentage of ridership in the most disadvantaged communities in Monterey County, those communities that make up the most disadvantaged communities in Monterey County, make up about 7% of the population, but they have well over 20% of the passenger boardings. And since the implementation of the Better Bus Network, we've actually seen that number increase as well. So I think we're having that impact, but we'll let Michelle provide you with more information on that coming up on the agenda. Otherwise, we continue to operate within standard. Of concern, though, of note for April was our MST rides on time performance, which we had been struggling with our contractor MV Transit to bring that up to standard for the first half of the fiscal year, July through December. Then starting in January, when we were threatening them or actually implementing penalties against them, financial penalties, they were able to bring their on-time performance up to standard. In April, though, that number dropped again. We are using a variety of carrots and sticks with the contractor, some financial incentives to help them hire more drivers, which is an issue for them. And so we've come to an agreement there where MST is helping them with their driver recruitment. And then we're also, though that's the carrot and the sticks are, we're invoking financial penalties against them when they don't meet standard. Just to let you know, in May, they brought their on-time performance on the MST rides back up to 85%. So from 79% up to 85%. I'm not sure how much of it was carrots and sticks or different traffic patterns or some combination, but just to let you know, as a precursor, our reports are only through April. For this report, I already have the May results are into me right before this meeting. And I can tell you that you'll see an improvement in May, and we hope to see that continue. They are hiring a lot more drivers, which will help them with that. They brought in some experts from their corporate headquarters to help them fine tune their software package that coordinates, and they're doing some more training with their drivers. Part of what we found out was that the MV drivers were getting the computer generated manifests in the morning, which are designed to optimize on-time performance. And the drivers would get the manifest and decide that based on their experience driving, that they could do better and would on their own change the schedule and order of pickups, which would then throw off the whole, basically they weren't better than what the computer is generating. So we've had to train them to follow the manifest and to trust the manifest, because calls come in during the day and the computer's taking that into account. And so we're doing the MB is doing some more training with their drivers on how to use the manifests that are printed on a daily basis. Anyway, that was really the only issue of concern that's in the reports that I wanted to share with you, and to let you know that it looks like in May we've got it turned around, and more to come on that. So it's a constantly monitoring their performance. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, board questions? Honey?
Mr. Sadora, because you call it carrots and sticks, why do you think that their performance improves as you say, when they do get threatened with the financial penalty, what? There's gotta be some kind of reporting. I mean, cause here at MST, you report back to us, this is the reason we're having these issues or whatever it is. But we don't hear nothing.
Yeah, well, I think, we're a transit district and not for profit. We're here for the community good.
Yeah.
And we report back to your board those things that are important to you. MV is a for-profit corporation and they report back to their board what's important to them, which is how well this division is doing on a profit basis. So it is one of the features that we're implementing, actually the directions that we're providing the contractor this month is that they need to offload more trips. And I think this was part of why we got to MST, a better on-time performance in May.
Yeah.
We directed them to offload some of their trips to the private taxi cab companies, because that's what they're there for. There may not be as much profit in it for MV to give trips away to other companies that like the taxi cabs. We are directing them to do so, otherwise we'll invoke financial penalties that will be worse for them. So I think that's what you're seeing is when we can impact them financially and help them to do better financially and report back to their board of directors, and that's when you'll see the performance improve. Unfortunately, that's the way this world works.
Yeah. I just have one other question. Because even though it's MV, it does carry the MST name, and I know a lot of times we hear, well, the contractor is not doing a very good job, but they look at the individual that contracts out.
Right.
So ultimately, we're responsible for making sure that things are getting done. I'm just curious, what does the financial penalties look like? And have you ever penalized them?
Oh, absolutely. I don't have the information. We have penalties for any number of things from not not meeting our on-time performance to every time we find one of their drivers out of uniform, we can penalize. There's a schedule of penalties that's built into the contract. I don't recall what they are, but they've been there for some time, and they know it. They agree to it beforehand. So everybody's aware of what those disincentives are. And our goal is to make certain that since our logo is on the bus, we try to make certain that our on-time performance with MV especially, and the customer safety and everything else is comparable to what you experience with MST, right? We're not 100% on time, but we're 85% on time, and that's where MV is in May. So we just want to get them to be comparable so that the customer doesn't see a difference between an MV operated trip versus an MST operated trip. And that's the challenge, is keeping it comparable.
Thank you.
Carl, so I've got a question. So they have not been following the manifest. So how does MST track them that they're staying on their schedule? Are there trackers in their vehicles?
Yes, we have software package that tracks the on-time performance of pickups. As for the MST Rides program, I'm speaking specifically about the MST Rides program. So we know when the negotiated pickup was agreed to, and what the schedule was versus when they were actually picked up. So that's in the system, and that gets reported to us through a package called Eco Lane. And that was part of the problem earlier. The first 6 months, they changed their software. And we agreed, because of the change in the software, we'd give them 6 months to get it, tuned up. So July through December, we saw, in July, there were problems and got better. In January, they were meeting standard. And then it fell off in April, which I wanted to draw your attention to, but back for May, and we'll see what June brings. But I just wanted to let you know because you do get complaints about that, and it is a very vulnerable, the people who are using rides are a much more vulnerable members of our population, so I do want to, take extra care in making sure that their needs are met and that we're not, want you to know that we're not ignoring them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other, anything else you would like to?
No, I think you'll get a report from Michelle specifically to the Better Bus Network and what's new coming up later on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. I will open it up to the public at this time. Public comment is open. And I do not believe.
No hands raised.
No hands, so we'll go ahead and close public. Thank you for your report, Carl, and we'll keep tracking that.
We'll stay on top of them.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to 4.2, and this is to receive an update on the Better Bus Network performance. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, committee members. Michelle Overmeyer, Director of Planning and Innovation. So we're now 6 months into the Better Bus Network. And as Carl mentioned, we're seeing double-digit increases in ridership compared to those same months last year. For the most part, all cities are experiencing increases in ridership, with the exception of Gonzales, which has seen a substantial drop in ridership. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Overall on-time performance for fixed route is good, although we've noticed that certain lines have started to slow down a little bit as traffic is coming back. And that does have impacts on our on-time performance at time transfer points. So our preliminary data for May shows that on-time performance at Monterey Transit Plaza was 82% and 85% at Salinas Transit Center and Carmel Rancho. Our onboard day pass sales continue to drop and transfers used continue to grow. In January, the first full month of the Better Bus Network, we saw about 7,000 transfers used. Last month, that number was almost 30,000. So our passengers are really taking advantage of the new fare structure that allows for those free transfers. And they don't necessarily need to purchase day passes on the bus. On the college side of things, the college students are using the Eco Smart Pass program. We haven't seen a drastic change since the Better Bus Network took effect. When comparing the fall semester to this recent spring semester, on fixed route again, CSUMB student usage dropped about 8%. Hartnell usage dropped about 4%, and MPC usage increased about 3%. We do still have some work to keep doing. A targeted marketing effort is needed in Gonzales. So we've noticed that ridership has dropped since we started to straighten out line 23 for the faster service. The 5th Street Shopping Center was a pretty high ridership location. And that the boarding levels have dropped there. So that location is now served by the express trips on line 23 during commute times. But residents that need the regular line 23 are having to walk to another bus stop where line 23 operates all day long. It's about a 6-minute walk or a bus ride on the on-call service. So I'll be working with our marketing staff to come up with a plan for addressing this with the residents of Gonzales. We continue to make slow and steady progress on transitioning the last 3 South County on-call systems to local fixed route circulators. The engineer is putting together the preliminary bus stop designs for review. And then in Seaside, the much needed stop at Noche Buena and San Pablo is somewhat stalled right now. The city has dropped their funding partnership on this bus stop due to budget deficits in the coming year. So MST staff is working with the city to get design plans from Harris Engineers so we can move forward with that on our own. As the coach operator staffing levels increase, we hope to fully implement the Better Bus Network as planned in Salinas with better service on lines 44 and 46. So that means increasing the frequencies from 60 minutes to 30 minutes when we're fully staffed. In Carmel, there are 2 active bus stops in Carmel that are often blocked by parked cars since on-street parking is allowed. Our safety and training officer and I took a bus out there and we met city staff. I think this was maybe early May. And city staff is going to be recommending to council that a no parking zone be put in place in front of Sunset Center. And then in the second location at 4th Street and Junipero, we're still evaluating what type of sidewalk improvements need to be put in so the MST can move its bus stop about 200 feet north so that we have the no parking zone. In Pacific Grove, we're slowly chipping away at getting more bus stops installed to fill those gaps in our service. 2 new bus stops were installed in April. Along line 1, a new stop is located at Sinex and Lobos. And then on line 2, we have a new stop at Pine and Monterey. There's probably about another dozen or so locations throughout the city of Pacific Grove that need bus stops to fill those gaps. And they'll come at a cost. So we recently submitted a grant application to TAMC seeking capital funds so that we can implement those stops, which include improvements like widening the sidewalks and then putting in some ADA compliant passenger landing pads. And then customer service reports. We continue to receive requests for late night service, service to remote parts of the county, and service to Santa Cruz and San Jose. So that's my update, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Michelle. Any comments or? Okay, Tony?
Ms. Obermeyer, you just mentioned more requests are being made for Santa Cruz and San Jose. Isn't there a connection like from Watsonville to Santa Cruz, or they want MST to go to Santa Cruz?
Right. Yeah. So right now we serve the Watsonville Transit Center, and passengers can connect to Santa Cruz Metro there and get to Santa Cruz. But yeah, the requests are for MST to go all the way into Santa Cruz, like we did at one point when we had the military partnership.
Oh. But it's working out well right now, because I know every now and then I go to Watsonville on the bus. One time I connected to Santa Cruz and it was pretty good.
Works.
It works.
Yeah, I think, we had these special arrangements, both through the military, for a direct trip to Santa Cruz and then a direct trip, all the way up to San Jose Airport. I think, through the Better Bus Network thought process, I agree that with the direction that the board has taken, that we should focus our resources more internally into our county where it's needed the most. And if we could make a timed transfer location at the first urban area over the county line, so Paso Robles to the south, Watsonville and Gilroy to the north, all of those counties have their own transit operations that can, have people complete their journey onward into their county versus us going deeper into the county. So this fall, line 59 will be kicking off which will connect to Gilroy, and that will complete that vision of service to Paso Robles, service to Watsonville, and service to Gilroy, which then also has a connection, a timed connection with services into San Benito and Hollister as well. So someone in Monterey can get to any neighboring county by going there without us having to go too far.
Yeah.
Yes, Joe?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, Michelle, I appreciate, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, you met with the city of Pacific Grove in our conference room, and was great, that it sounds like things are moving forward and hopefully, get, Tamsi to give you some bucks. To take care of some of those stops, but, it sounds like, ridership is, increased there, correct?
Yes. Yeah, Pacific Grove has seen about an 8% increase compared to last year, the first half of last year.
Thank you.
Okay, and Michelle, I had a question. I didn't hear you mentioned the colleges using the Echo Pass. Is that you mentioned that CSUMB had a 8% drop, MPC had a 3% drop, and I didn't hear the other one. MPC had a 3% increase, sorry.
Increase, yeah. So it's the College Eco Smart Pass program that we have with each of those schools. CSUMB dropped about 8%, Hartnell dropped about 4%, and MPC increased about 3%. I don't know that those are really tied so much to the Better Bus Network. I think the schools are having some enrollment issues, and so they have seen drops in their enrollment levels.
Okay, thank you. Also, anyone else comments or?
I do have one comment.
Okay, sure.
Hey, Carl, you mentioned Gilroy, reaching out to them. Do you know where about they would go stop? Is there a stop?
There's a Gilroy Caltrain station
Right there.
that will be starting, and we've are in the final iterations of contract with Santa Clara VTA. They're going to help fund some of our service, and we're using a state grant as well to offset our costs on that. And from the Gilroy Caltrain station, you can make connections to the Capitol Corridor to get to Sacramento and the East Bay. You can make Caltrain connections, get you all the way up to San Francisco, into a Giants game if you want. Or you can take VTA's line 68, half-hourly service all the way to downtown San Jose Diridon Station with stops in Morgan Hill and other communities along the Highway 101 corridor.
I'm just curious about the Gilroy. That was one of my past lives.
Yeah,
out
the
there,
10th,
so.
the Gilroy Caltrain station on 10th Street.
Okay, and let's see. So, and then in Gonzales, we'll get an update later. A little bit more of an update, what's happening there.
Yeah, we're still working things out, and Michelle and her team are going to do some intensive community outreach to see what we can do to get folks to walk the extra 5 minutes to the new stop, see and find out what's going on there. We're not sure what's happening in Gonzales. We're just responding to the data at this point. We're going to do a little more investigation.
Okay, great. And just one comment on what the PG, the 2 new stops that you're looking at. I know that we've heard public comment before about Pacific Grove, about them losing a stop or some ADA folks having to walk. So is that going to be one of the stops that they're looking at?
Not the particular stop. We've had a particular individual appear at our meetings, and no, this is not one. That is not the stop. But there are. We have sat with. We held 2 community workshops in Pacific Grove, and then working with staff. We've, as Michelle mentioned, we've identified a path forward on the highest where the stops would really be most beneficial to the most people. And we've identified that, and we're developing a plan and a financing plan for that.
Okay, great, thank you. Did I open this up to public comment? I don't, not yet. Well, let's do that. Public comment is open on this item.
There are no members of the public online with their hands raised, and I do not see anyone in the room here with us.
Okay, we'll close public comment, and thank you for that. Did we didn't need to take action on this. This was just a report. So we will go ahead and move on to item 4.3. This is to receive report on SERV, the Transit Fair and Family Fun Day event. And I think Lisa.
Yes, thank you. Lisa Reinheimer, Assistant General Manager for MST. here to report on the Surf Transit Fair and Family Fun Day. Try to say that 10 times fast. But I
We don't have
do,
enough time.
I know. I do have a reason to be cheerful today because the event was wildly successful. And I just like to say that the team, the MST team and our consultant team put in a lot of time and energy to make it a really great event. We were all hands on deck on Saturday. We had so much help from facilities to maintenance. We had a bus, an electric bus there. We had MST recruitment team, customer service, planning, et cetera. It was all hands on deck and everyone did a great job despite the June gloom. So we were there to educate the public about the SURF project, to answer questions that people may have had, and to build enthusiasm and support for the project. And I think we did that. We had a number of partners. So the event was located at our Marina Transit Exchange, and it has a number of bays. We closed off some of the bays while we were still in operations and used the outer bays for continued bus service. So in those inner bay areas, we had a number of our partners, they had a table there. So we had Blue Zones, we had our transportation agency for Monterey County, had a table there with some sidewalk chalk and all sorts of fun for the kids. We had Salinas Valley Waste Management, Alliance on Aging, Me Earth, out of Carmel Valley came and gave away native plant species, low water use. I got 3 of them. I have no idea where I'm going to put them. Natividad Hospital, there was an active transportation table there where they were giving away bike helmets. Again, we had MST recruitment. Kelly Halkin was there helping to try to recruit more drivers. I'll talk about that later on the board agenda in relation to the budget. Let's see, Granite Rock was there. They're our construction manager, general contractor group. We had a welcome MST table. And then we also had some surf renderings. So visual simulations to show the public what the Palm and Del Monte station would look like, as well as the 5th Street station in former Fort Ord, so that people can get a sense of what it would look like rather than making up things in their mind. We have also, in support of that, had a transit-oriented development table where we're working with our cities to help them with ideas for supporting the SURF project in their general plans and the policies that the cities implement to support transit-oriented development. We also had Kona Ice on a June gloom kind of a day, but people seem to like it. And then also we had a DJ with some fun music in there too. We launched a new video that our marketing team had put together, talking with our community partners about the surf and what it means to them. So we had a Slido survey with renderings. We'll send this all out to you. People can use a QR code on their phone and tell us what they like, what they don't like with some of the renderings. We have fencing options, we have retaining wall options in there. It's a good opportunity for us to get feedback from the community as to preferences of the look, the visual aesthetic of the surf project. There was also a fantastic tour using that electric bus provided by your general manager and CEO, as well as Todd Muck from the Transportation Agency for Monterey County. I can't speak to that tour specifically, only that it happened because I held down the home front while Carl and team went on the tour. So it went from Marina Transit Exchange all the way down to Monterey Transit Plaza with a stop at Sand City Station and then back again. So they were able to share information. We also had a raffle with a skateboard and a scooter, and overall we're guesstimating 150 people attended from 10 to 2. And I thought it was a fun event. I was excited to be there spending my Saturday with that. Actually, some of my friends showed up, so that was nice. So I don't know, Carl, if you wanted to mention anything on the tour.
Just for the staff, I had, I think it was the Natividad table asked, how often have you been doing this? And they said, this is our first time. And she said, you were so lucky to have so many people turn out. And my standard response to that is, I've found throughout my career is the harder I work, harder we work at things, the luckier we get. And so there were, that team MST literally knocked themselves out, and really, I think it really showed. We had all 5 of the city council members from Marina were there, as well as city staff. And I think, there had been some murmurings on next door controversy about this project. I think we were able to change some minds. I know from some of my interactions that we did, that people actually saw what we were doing and what this project really was. And I could see people's minds change in real time. So just an excellent job by everyone on the MST team. Lisbeth, you were there. Is there anything you
Yes,
care to share?
I'd like to add something. Yeah, I would like to thank Carl and Lisa and the entire team. It was a very successful event. And like you say, being able to answer questions directly, whether people have concerns about the fencing, the retaining walls, or the plants, trees that might need to be removed. It's so good that people can get direct answers. And I personally really like the map, the overlay that shows the 5th Street station in connection with the homes that are going to be built. So people can see it's not out there where there's nothing yet. There will be an entire neighborhood there. And the station will be right there. So yeah, thank you. And also I really liked the bus tour. I can finally say I've been on an MST bus. And I promised somebody, I can't remember who, before the next board meeting, I will make sure to go on a regular bus. But yeah, the bus was, and sitting up high was also very good. I could see things from Highway 1 that I never see when you're in a car. So you could even see the railroad very well when you were high up in the bus. You could see how low it is compared to the environment.
It's quite a view.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We had council member Medina Dirksen and council member McCarthy as well on the bus
Yes.
with us on that tour. So it was a great way for us to provide additional information to policymakers.
One of the things that we presented in this little renderings packet is some retaining wall options. One of them is a more customized facade, where what you can do is have a form, pour the concrete in, and then that form gets placed on the retaining wall. And I've been working with MPC, the art director, I guess would be his title, to work with a local artist, MPC student, to see if there are some design options that she can come up with. She's already been on site to have that stamped concrete or that formed concrete be her artwork. And that oftentimes helps to decrease graffiti because people do respect other people's art. So it could be a really fun adventure for us in supporting the local community.
Okay,
Thank you.
and with that, I'll open it up to public comment, if anyone would like to comment on this from the public.
There are no indications of anyone from the public wishing to comment.
Righty, we'll close that. And anyone in the,
Yeah, I just a quick comment. We had a council meeting before that. We're allowed to make comment about something, and I advertised it through the Zoom and everything else, and the people in the audience. And so I don't know if any city of Pacific Grove people showed up, but I went ahead and gave you the plug for it. So
Thank you. We appreciate that. We've actually been to PG Farmers Market in the past with information on the surf. So we'll continue that effort. This is not the end of outreach. It's the continuum of outreach. Yeah, thank you for that.
okay, and the city of Sand City also posted that. And had handouts for the council. I believe it was posted in public places. I don't know if they put that on the website. But unfortunately, I was out of town and I was unable to attend, but sounds like it was a wonderful event.
Yeah, no worries.
The
Thank you.
service, it's really our line 20 is the quotes, unquote, surf line. So from Salinas to the Monterey Peninsula, we've been reaching out, farmers markets, community events, chambers of commerce. Actually, in the video, at some point, we'll need to show this for the board. The video that we unveiled at the meeting, we have the Salinas Chamber,
Starla.
Starla. I'm not sure what her title is, but she's with the Salinas Chamber, is an
Queen.
advocate.
Starla the Queen.
So I just wanted for
Yes.
Director Barrera's sake, we've been talking a lot about Marina and Pacific Grove and
Hey.
Peninsula. There is outreach because people from Salinas and the South County will benefit from this as well.
Yeah, that's why you had 150 people.
That's right. In fact, I'll be at Salinas Farmers Market this coming Saturday to talk about the transit-oriented development side of the surf project. We'll have information on the surf too, so hopefully you stop by.
Yes.
And Lisa, we do have that West End celebration coming
Yes.
up. I don't know if you'd like to put a booth out.
We usually have a table, an MST
table.
table
Okay.
there, so we'd continue to do that and we can focus some efforts on the surf project as well. That's
Okay,
not a
okay.
problem.
And talking about, if I may,
Mhm.
Madam Chair, I just want to give a shout out to Veronica Carrillo. That woman does tremendous things for MST and, I know several people in the Alisal area and I'm sure in other areas. She does a fantastic job. I
Yes,
like when
she
she, I
does.
I like when she brings little gifts too, I like those.
Yeah, in fact, she's on Zoom right now, and I would be remiss if I didn't agree with you 1,000% and then some. Veronica is a rock star and she is just such an asset to our team, and I am so lucky to have her in my department with the rest of the marketing
Recently
team.
promoted into a new position.
Supervisor, yeah.
as Supervisor of our entire customer
Oh, I
relations.
thought she was leaving,
coverage.
what's up with her?
So we're, yeah.
Moving up the corporate ladder.
Yeah,
Well, you know what? If she is listening to us, we really appreciate her. And I know one of the fun places in the Alisal is our Firehouse Recreation Center. You got all these active senior citizens. They love this woman. I mean, it's just, it's tremendous work. So thank you. I know Mr. Sadorik's got teary-eyed there, but it's,
Okay, well, with that, we'll go ahead and do we move on? Did we have any closed session?
Nope.
Okay, well, with no closed session, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting and it is 9:41. We could take a little, have a little break before your next meeting.
Make some phone calls.
do we have the continental breakfast over?